Let's go ahead and start in. I'm Tom White. I have the privilege of kind of being the executive director of City Advance. And there's a number of members of our cast team who are in the room also. If that's you, just put a hand up. Got a whole bunch of us here. So a lot of our local cast team. These are highly skilled practitioners of city movements from all over North America, U.S. and Canada, both. And so we have kind of a collegial relationship. And part of what we do is this particular gathering. And so I just appreciate the privilege of walking with these men and women. Hey, take a look at our kind of updated website, cityadvance.org. In one spot, the resources page. Matt Anderson, upper left corner here, has done a lot of really good work collecting what we call signature corporate prayer resources. So a lot of the distinctive of City Advance is that we really focus on the power of prayer over city movement and building relationships through prayer, and also open to the Holy Spirit, open to the prophetic. That's kind of a lot of our core values. So in a moment, we're going to have a really dear friend and kind of a colleague in Ottawa, Gabe McReynolds, going to share with us. The Ottawa movement, in my understanding, is really 35 plus years old. Very healthy, vibrant, well-led movement. So Gabe's going to share with us. We got the opportunity to get better acquainted with Gabe McReynolds in Boulder, Colorado. The City Leaders Collective hosted us. Daria was a part of that. And so we had the privilege of just getting to know Gabe better. And his title is Lead of Love Ottawa. And I shared earlier, this is a movement that's at least 35 years old. There's a lot of really good working components. So Gabe, I think what I had in mind was, what's your secret sauce? Richard's in the room, Richard Long, you've been a part of the journey. I've actually been privileged to be with you with some prayer summits. So what is the secret sauce of Love Ottawa? Some components that have sustained your movement over time?
Yeah, thanks, Tom. And thanks for asking me to do this. Richard, of course, could tell this story as well, but I consider myself still kind of one of the newcomers to the movement. 6 years now with One Way Ministries. Actually, it's more like 30 years, Tom. My understanding is in somewhere around 1996, things got off the ground. But it's been a great 30 years. And just a brief overview, One Way Ministries is a meta network. We have 5 major sub-networks: Love Ottawa, Pray Ottawa, Pastors Network, Workplace Network, and Ministry Wives. And our vision is Christian leaders serving together for a flourishing city. And our mission is that we inspire, empower, and connect Christian leaders to embrace unity and collaborate for city impact. So that's our heart, and that's our where we focus our efforts. And so, with regards to secret sauce, I'm going to suggest more of a secret recipe, and talk about some of the characteristics and history of One Way that I think has allowed us to be an ongoing, sustained ministry for 30 some years. And I'm going to start with money. We like to highlight, in our history, that One Way as a city unity, city church unity movement started with a marketplace leader who had some financial resources that he wanted to use for kingdom work. It's a dear brother. The founder is a dear brother named Larry Bruin. He was actually a professional football player, played in the Canadian Football League for many years, originally from Texas, but also a successful businessman after his career as a football player. So he had an abundance of financial resources that he wanted to invest in the kingdom. And so I think we've had the sort of unique privilege of being a single-sourced ministry for many years. That his financing probably went on for about 20 years until he's had to start a number of years ago. He started stepping that down. And so then we've been transitioning over these years to a multi-source funding model. But, those many years with that, I think, sort of allowed us to operate under the values of hospitality and generosity in a very, you know, capable way. And part of that was we were able to buy a small office building to, to have office space for our team. But in addition to that, it has meeting spaces that many ministries make use of. And so every week we're sort of, offering hospitality here in our building. And another way we've practiced that is our pastor appreciation events, where we book a nice venue, we have food and usually a speaker, and just provide this kind of a spirit of just wanting to bless the pastors and the Christian leaders in the city. And that's at no cost to them. And those are really special events. So as we've transitioned to, a more typical multi-source funding, our director, Mark Peterkins, has done an excellent job with that. And Mark was actually Larry's first hire right at the beginning. So the two of them were kind of frick and frack running one way. And that actually, the money side was what actually brought me into contact with them way back in 1997, just as they were getting going. I'd been referred to them, hearing that they were funding various initiatives. At the time, I was preparing my wife and I and our family to go to Morocco to do mission work. And so we were raising money. We were kind of stuck short of our goal. And we got to meet with Mark and Larry and I guess, won them over, and they support us generously. So we experienced that generosity from them personally. And, that started our relationship that I've had with them for all these years. So that availability of financial resources, I wouldn't say that's a typical, maybe, start for a lot of city unity ministries. But that was our history. And I think it allowed us to be a sustained ministry and to build that strong foundation that we're now building off of years later. The second ingredient I would suggest is just spirit-led discernment. Founders tend to imprint their DNA on their organization. And Mark, who is more of a structure and process guy, he recalls humorously how not long after he was recruited by Larry, he asked him, "So what exactly are we doing? What's our mission?" And Larry just said, "Well, we're just helping people. Let's just see where the Spirit takes us." And that was their mission. We're helping people. So pretty broad, but, very Spirit-led. And I think that DNA has stayed with us before every strategic decision we make to lead something or to come alongside leaders. We try not to rush that decision, but rather seek the Lord and allow time for His Spirit to speak to us and give us discernment. The third ingredient would be prayerfulness, related to the second ingredient. But in addition to trying to build a culture of prayerfulness amongst ourselves and our team, it's also a major strategic focus. We know that building a transformational citywide church unity movement will only happen by the power of God. So prayerfulness is a personal team aspiration. We still are, on a journey in that and think we can always improve, but it has been a strategic citywide priority. We've established rhythms of prayer and prayer efforts over many years, such as the annual civic prayer breakfast, our annual pastors prayer summit, which is, I think, more than 25 years, and our weekly prayer points. And we've had Sarah Jackson and others. I think originally Richard maybe sending out faithfully every week a themed list of prayer points for intercessors to pray through for the city. And recently we've been launching the One Church, One Day prayer strategy just last year, and having an official launch this January. And so shout out to Steve and Patty Buss for inspiring us with that. And I think that's going to be just a key effort for the future of our ministry here. The fourth and final ingredient I will mention, I think, is just our commitment to impact. Some city unity efforts have success in gathering pastors to pray and build friendships, which we also do. And that is extremely valuable in and of itself. But we don't believe just in unity, just for unity's sake. We believe that unity is intended for a purpose, according to John 17, that the world may know Jesus. So, as Richard explains well in his book, which I highly recommend if you haven't read it or acquired it, The Citywide Church, we're striving to build that three-legged stool of prayer, relationships, and mission. So we're committed to catalyzing missional impact and transformation in the city. The arm of our network that especially focuses on that is Love Ottawa. Love Ottawa began as a team led by Richard in 2011, but before long, the Spirit led his team to become a team that helps launch missional teams in the city. And so since that time, we've launched probably over 15 teams that are having an impact in many ways all over the city. And a couple of years ago, Richard passed the baton of leadership for Love Ottawa to me so that he could grow the pastors network and focus on that. So in terms of measurable impact, I could probably share stories from a number of areas in any one of those missional teams, but I'll talk about one called Friends for Dinner, which is a team. It's on our Love Ottawa platform. This team mobilizes churches to involve their families hosting international students for a holiday meal at Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Easter. So we've got probably somewhere around 20,000 international students, here in our city. And over the past 13 plus years that team has been running, it was actually the first team that Richard and Love Ottawa helped launch. Friends for Dinner has hosted probably about 4,000 to 5,000 international students through 300 to 400 families from 40 to 50 churches around the city. And at very little operating cost, I might add. Great strategy that way. Very simple strategy, just families hosting international students and talking about the meaning of Christmas or Easter and why it's meaningful to them as a family. So as a result, many church families have been involved in cross-cultural evangelism through that ministry, and students from all over the world have heard the gospel, and many have attended church with their host families as well. So I think I will stop there, and that's, thank you again for letting me share.
Gabe, this is fantastic. I'm inspired. And let me just kind of review these, like a backbone organization. It's interesting. You said money up front. That's not typical. All of us might be envious of that, saying, wow, where's the money to fund all this? But bless Larry for his, availability of his funds. So backbone organization, Spirit-led discernment. Yes, I think we really need to be following the promptings of the Holy Spirit rather than just our best ideas. Prayerfulness. You mentioned a number of ways in which corporate prayer is practiced in Ottawa. Commitment to impact. Just this idea of Love Ottawa launching other missional teams, very powerful. You're releasing, and empowering others. And then this illustration of Friends for Dinner, really just connecting students from all over the world and kind of rubbing off on them. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go into breakouts again, and just remember this, 10, 10, 10. 10 minutes of responding to what Gabe has brought to us. Okay, is there an ingredient of Love Ottawa movement that looks attractive to you that you might want to develop? So talk about the content. Where did the Holy Spirit stir you, as Gabe was sharing? But then somebody monitor this. When you got 10 minutes left, share either a personal or ministry prayer need. 30 seconds or less. We want to pray for one another. It's a part of our model. And so just bring that to the table, 30 seconds. Here's how you can pray for me personally or for my ministry call. So let's go for it. We'll regather here at 5 before the hour and just kind of debrief as we close. So have meaningful conversation and prayer together. Go for it. Welcome back, folks. Welcome back. We had a delightful time, meaningful prayer together. Trust you had a really good breakout. I just want to maybe put this question out there. Any significant takeaways from Love Ottawa? Anything that kind of Gabe brought to us that really kind of resonated with you and with your movement? Anyone's just kind of free to share what that might be, or just any way the Holy Spirit kind of caught your attention from the Love Ottawa movement. Anyone, free to just unmute, share a takeaway or an observation.
I shared in the group, just again, I've read Richard's book, but Gabe, the way that you just said it helped my heart and soul land a little more practically, that when Love Ottawa transitioned to become a team that helps launch other missional teams, like here's a platform where we will encourage and spur on other leaders who have that grace to cultivate that unity, cultivate that joining together, cultivate doing the kingdom together. We're creating space for others to be empowered to do that. Love that 100%. I personally and our movement, we want to do that more. And I love the way that you phrase that. It helped clarify in me. So thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyone else? Something.
I'll just throw out, Doug had to go off our call, but he's from Canada and was in our group, and he just talked about how the uniqueness of having the marketplace financing that started and really supported so many things, just getting up and going and being generous in all those ways. And he said, that is unique, but I'm just believing that shouldn't be unique. And I was like, me too. So I just love the testimony of that, and the encouragement of that, and believing for more of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Say, Wes in Colorado Springs, is there a backbone organization currently, like that? A ministry organization, like in Portland, it's Palau, Palau Association. One Way Ministries, Ottawa's been blessed to have them as a source of funding. Anything like that in Colorado Springs?
The connection with Eric Swanson, Cause I Love You, probably connects, but nothing. I would agree with Patty. And I was going to highlight the funding, the marketplace. And I think Tom and I have had more discussion of this, but I feel by our unity and alignment, kind of the blessing of God for the experiences of decades or more of everyone here with City Advance, et cetera, our alignment and unity, I think the norm is going to be new business plans for marketplace leaders to fund the offices and staff. And we're actually working on that as I speak with Jason Hubbard to just think through what does that look like. Because I think I mentioned, but Tom, Indonesia has a hotel owner who was in the One Church, One Prayer canopy, who's now provided $70 million for that campus. So all of that to say, I believe in talking with Gabe and what they're doing in Ottawa, something of God's about to birth that kind of provision. Sure. Mm-hmm. Things align with the will and the ways of God. And the ISI thing, we have the ISI headquarters. So the Friends for Dinner means everything to me for our city.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, beautiful. Anyway, I would love to pray. I feel like that's a unity of prayer for all of us. God, help us know how to write this up and the impact, the ROI for businessmen.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. So
fantastic. Yeah, Gabe, interesting. You led with that. I mean, that's a significant distinctive of Love Ottawa. Larry Brune, the Lord graced him with good income, and he was gracious enough to say, I want to invest this in the city.
Yeah.
So what a gift. Maybe one or two more before we wrap up.
John, the funding, I've met Bruce Barlean's a great funder of IPC and other things, but like as a group, we prayed for him. He was approaching Walmart for his products, and the Lord broke through, and it's something like, a very large amount of money then's unlocked. And that's part of the prayer side with all of us in relationships.
Sure.
And I just think, and I believe it's just more of our unity and convergence of effort that God's going to go and our warring for those business leaders will help break this up. So
excellent. Good, Wes. Well, we're going to wrap up. Our thanks to you, Gabe. Fantastic. Really, I was inspired and challenged both. So, just Lord bless you as you continue, you and Richard, Mark Peterkins, quite a team, Sarah Jackson, quite a strong team. So I think we're going to read out January, second Friday of the month, January 16. And we're going to be a little bit more defined in terms of our presenters. I think this format is really going well. And so we're going to kind of hit the new year running January 16. Matt, you've got something to share before we wrap up.
Yeah, I'm just putting a couple links in the chat real quick, just so you all are aware of a few things, because we're going to be working on building some of these pieces out over the coming months. So first of all, if you're not getting our emails, make sure you use that link to get on our constant contact list for reminders about these calls. We do have a YouTube page where we're going to be posting, recordings from these pieces periodically, or some other content that we'll be sharing there, and also working to build out Facebook and eventually Instagram and things like that over the next 3 to 6 months. So if you want to check any of that out, you can follow those links. But what I really want to share with you too is just we're working on making some resources available on our website. So there's 2 links there. One is to a page dedicated to some Prayer Summit resources. So there's a video there. And there's actually a couple of links to download some Prayer Summit resources that were developed by Tom. And the same thing with citywide prayer resources. On that page, there's some pieces to download from One Hope in Eugene, and also from Ottawa. There's a piece on there, if just some free resources that you can utilize there. And also to share with others. And if you're in conversation with somebody and you're saying, hey, we're talking about a prayer summit. Where do we go for something about prayer summits? And those pages are available on our website. So that's it.
Fantastic. Greet me with you. Have a blessed holiday season. May Jesus draw near to your homes and any services you're a part of. Isn't it great to be a child of God? Man, wow. These days and these times, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Amen.
May the light of Jesus shine upon you and your family, and we'll see you in January.
Right.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas,
Bless you.
everyone.
Hello.
Merry Christmas.
Thank
Bless
you.
everyone.
Hello.